So Mo,
Yes, sir. What's
thank you
going
for
on?
coming on Zoom at the last minute. I encountered this video. I was watching Jimmy Dore, and he was he was playing it, and I just wanted to get your reaction because I guess it's pretty new. The tweet the recording that I have is I think 23 hours old. So, do you know the comic strip Dilbert?
Yes. But I've never seen any of them, but I know of it.
All right. Well, the the creator, the artist that does Dilbert, the cartoonist,
Oh God.
um, I've seen a couple of videos of his pertaining to like COVID and maybe some things a little political. And I've never been really that impressed with him, but I'd like you to hear what he had to say. Just so maybe yesterday or so.
This is a black man, right?
This is not a black man.
This is not a black man. Oh no. Oh, please just go for it. Okay.
So his name is Scott Adams, and here's the
Um,
video, Mo.
So if nearly half of all blacks are not okay with white people, according to this poll, not according to me, according to this poll, that's a hate group. That's a hate group, and I don't want to have anything to do with them. And I would say, based on the current way things are going, the best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people. Just get the fuck away. Wherever you have to go, just get away. Because there's no fixing this. This can't be fixed. Right? This can't be fixed. You just have to escape it.
oh
So that's
no.
what I did. I went to a neighborhood where I have a very low black population, because unfortunately there's a high correlation between the density. And this is according to Don Lemon, by the way. So here I'm just quoting Don Lemon when he notes that when he lived in a mostly black neighborhood, there were a bunch of problems that he didn't see in white neighborhoods. So even Don Lemon sees a big difference in your own quality of living based on where you live and who's there. So I think
Oh
it makes no sense
no.
whatsoever as a white citizen of America to try to help black citizens anymore. It doesn't make sense. It's no longer a rational impulse. And so
Oh,
I'm gonna back off from being helpful to Black America because it doesn't seem like it pays off. Like I've been doing it all my life, and the only outcome is I get called a racist. That's the only outcome. It makes no sense to help Black Americans if you're white. It's over. Don't even think it's worth trying. Totally not trying. And
oh.
there we go. You didn't expect that today, did you? But those who don't want to focus on education, you just need to get away from them. Just get as much distance as you can. That's my recommendation. And I'm also really sick of seeing video after video of black Americans beating up non-black citizens.
Huh?
I realize it's anecdotal, and it doesn't give me a full picture of what's happening. But every damn day, I
So
look
why
on
are you
social
saying
media,
it?
and there's some black person beating the shit out of some white person. I'm kind of over
No,
it.
there's
I'm
not.
over it. Right? So I quit.
What do you?
Oh, please tell me you got my reaction on camera.
Yeah, I did.
Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. So first of all, wasn't this poll only in one location? Wasn't this at his job, like where he works at?
I think the what I picked up was it may have been a poll concerning somebody at a university who said something like it's okay to be white. They posted it on the door of their dorm or something, I think.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that. And so this poll was asking about that. It's like, is it okay to be white or something like, something along those lines.
Do you understand? And I want to first say this as probably one of the few Black people that actually find appreciation in all ethnic groups, not race, because we're one race, but all ethnic groups. I do not. I've grown. I came up in a very harsh environment, believe it or not. For those who are watching, and if you are a fan of the show, I really have come in from a rough environment where everything was stacked against me. The chances of me going to prison, I mean, from my own experience, without saying too much, was very high. All stacked against me. I mean, parents are not high school graduates, mental disabilities at a high, all marks was against me. And one of the things I was blessed with were good people, right? So, and I mean of all ethnics, Blacks, Hispanic, Jewish people, um, Caucasian, Asian. Growing up in New York City, I even had this story. I was just telling my girlfriend about this story, how I used to do this thing that my father didn't know about, where I used to run in the streets and I used to jump, dance in the highway, like in the middle of the street. Because to me, it was just like life daring. I was stupid. But I used to do this thing and jump between car to car to car to car to car because I didn't believe I would get harmed. And I just knew I would never die. When I tell you the people that would stop and say, "What the hell are you doing?" They all look different. I had a white man stop one time and park and said, "Do I have to take you to your house?" I've actually
Mm.
had a white man walk me to my house to tell on me, like, "Hey, your son was doing something extremely dangerous." And I would, as a father, I would not. I've had experience where like I didn't even expect that to happen,
Uh,
right? So I've had kindness shown to me in all ethnic groups. And this is why, for as a Black man, as much as like even my own father, who worked close with Italians and other groups in the early, in his early age, doing unnecessary things. But even him, who was very fearful of white men and stuff like that and try to push that on it, I often actually experienced the opposite. When I was hungry, when I was on the streets and I was in foster care and I was left in this horrible home and I was traveling around in New York City, and I made friends with the white kid in the all Black school, and we connected and we went back and forth to the house. Their parents actually fed me and stuff like that and looked after me, and I had a place to go instead of always being in the streets at one point
mm.
in time. So I've gotten shown a lot of love. But what I gotta say to this idea, as if we, like, using disliking you as white people has nothing to do with what they think it has to do, right? It is a difference between disliking somebody and hating somebody. I dislike a lot of people in my own culture. I dislike a lot of people. I dislike a lot of things within my own culture that I do not tolerate. It's against my principles. I don't condone violence against each other. I don't condone harming and young Black children getting hit with bullets because we have a culture that needs to be corrected. I don't condone it. But our history and why we dislike white people makes sense. I am 28 years old, and when I find out every freaking year or every few months, I find out new things. Do y'all know that white slave owners and hunters will take our babies and feed them to crocodiles and like alligators in Florida? I mean, do y'all know that people would eat us and use our flesh Do you know that you would use us as a town hall execution, and your children was so desensitized that you watched us as entertainment die for false allegations? Do you know, right in New York City in, I believe, 1915 or 1990, early 1900s, there was a mass murder of Black people because immigrants and people who are Caucasian, that look Caucasian, were so terrified that Black people would take their jobs that they had to call in National Guard, an army to stop the massacre within New York City. So do y'all know, like, the hatred that you are exhibiting right now is truly what we dislike. It's not like you, Malcolm X said it and predicted that once asked, will racism die? He said no. Actually, he predicted by the 2020s, and this is 2015, and later on, it would become stronger. They would just repackage it into new things. The CIA, these different organizations that was quote unquote rebranded as something else, but really to target us. The war on drugs, to really target us. So it was like all racism did was just rebrand it. It rebrands itself. Right now, it's rebranding itself as in a terminology that Black people created for ourselves, was the woke. All that it really did was show enlightenment and showing that a group of Black people, from my understanding, and I'm still learning so much about it myself, is that it is an idea of us being aware of our struggles and breaking out of our traumas to become more than what we are, and not sit in poverty, and become awakened to what is, so we can become more educated and educate our next generation, not out of hatred. We don't want to harm white people. We don't care to harm white people. We know the problems that would occur if we were to attempt that. We don't want that. We actually don't want that. King's words rang deeper than people realize. X words, even later on when he apologized for some remarks he made, rings loud in our souls. Like, we do not want war with white people. Maybe there are some extremists on every side, but we generally do not want war because we do view ourselves as Americans. We just want to know our history. And this idea that we dislike you for no reason, it's a reason. This thing that he doesn't understand is called white guilt. You can't even fathom why we dislike you. You probably wrote genuine work that may have come off as racism, and instead of you taking accountability for that, you say just don't be around us.
And he's basing
Don
it on
Lemon,
one poll.
one poll. We don't like you. Yeah, we don't. We
And
typically
he
don't
moved.
like you.
He moved into a low density racial neighborhood 30 years ago.
Listen, racism is about the fact that white people tend to want to keep us low at a financial level. It's about controlling us at a financial level, not allowing us to have access to the same things, whether that's owning housing or selling houses and getting a fair price. These breaking down these racist organizations that still have laws that hold within to this day. States like Alabama that begin arresting us for minor things just to keep their slave industry, which is strongly populated. Prisons like in PA, who hold the most Blacks ever. So we just trying to destroy the systematic things and show love. Show y'all love. We really do. And it's so interesting, this perspective. And it really shows that white Americans are what they really are. And it's that this is where that white guilt comes in. It's like so many, not all, but so many are so terrified with our numbers and how it's increasing and our diversity, that they are so terrified that we will have an uprising upon them, that they'll do anything to destroy us. Planned Parenthood was created by a racist. a Nazi supporter that people don't know about, that was designed to abort black people and promoted to black women so that they can get aborted. The government even like, even argue with my own women. I'm like, y'all don't even realize this is a systematic thing to keep y'all continue doing this. It's going to keep being pushed to y'all until y'all say enough is enough. We need to be responsible of our own bodies. But there's so much, and it's dislike he's talking about. I don't have dislike towards, like, no, I have dislike to white men and women who ignore our trauma, who dismiss our trauma. But I don't hate white people.
Well,
I
I guess I
truly,
just have one question for you.
yes,
Um, how are you going to manage as a black person in American society without Scott Adams's help?
I don't give a shit about Scott Adams' help.
I'm not even going to bleep that.
I don't give a bleeding butthole of shit. Okay, I don't. I really don't. What I am concerned about is that the young white men and white women who hear this, who may feel this type of way with him, understand that we don't hate you. A lot of what happens is our defense from you. We don't like your perception of us. We are the most loving community ever. I have had plenty of white friends who had the ideas. Instead of me going angry at them, I've invited them around friends. I've included myself around their circles. And yes, you hear some wild crap, but what a man can't deny, what a human being cannot deny, is a smile.
Hmm.
When you smile at somebody, you show them genuine love and gratefulness for even a plate of food. I remember one time being introduced, brought to a friend's house, and they had this nice, spread and everything else like that. And it was a bunch of stuff that I've never had. And I remember just saying, you know what, I'm willing to try everything here. And just allowing, even when you hear white men, older men, try those little jokes and responding with something as easy as, oh, you're right, but you can't deny how good it is, and having that, like, wow, like having that experience and then opening that door to have conversations with people. 9 out of 10 times I've had more people open their doors up for me
Mm-hmm.
and want to be around me than keep me out, because they just didn't know. They just didn't know. I've been in areas and where I've watched white people joke with humorists, and they crack on these. I was telling a friend this. I'm like, white people just love making jokes about themselves. If you ever sit down with them and see, they say the most horrible shit to each other. Very similar to black culture. They just say some horrible shit, like they be calling each other fat, ugly, alcoholic, crack, like they go cokeheads, just wild stuff. And then when they joke, when they get around us, does it excuse? Am I excusing them? No. But what I do realize is that there is a similarity. I'm like, oh, y'all do joke similar to us, but there is that we don't want to hear those black color jokes, because it's just, even if you say it's a joke and you do it with
Mm-hmm.
everybody, and it's not that we don't believe you don't do it with everybody. It's just that you try to toe the line with color and just keep those jokes
You
away.
can't be
Just
like
talk.
that.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
the times don't allow. I mean, it might allow one or two to
Mm-hmm.
cross over, but it's one or two.
One or two.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's allowing us to embrace you into our community. And when we are so willing to embrace, I don't think they get that. I don't get, so many white Americans get how similar we are in so many ways. They think of us liberals. No, we are the most conservative people you can meet. You know what I'm saying? It's your view on conservative that knocked it. If you was just inclusive and say, you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised how much our values align with each other.
Uh-huh.
It's just it baffles me that he said any
It's
of it. And
amazing.
Don,
It's amazing the level of the demographic that the Republican Party is missing out on.
oh, oh, oh my God, they're losing. Like they could have, you know how they could have took us back so many decades ago.
Yeah, I mean,
They could have took us back so many decades ago.
I can quote at least one person who said, if the Republican Party wasn't as racist as it was, I wouldn't be a Democrat.
And that's the problem. If they had a strong leader that says we are now inclusive of the black community because their values standing, and they stood a man who's a president that stood there and said, this is our values. This is my people. This is, and they hit nail point by point by point about God, about faith, about the nuclear family, about hard working, about how we struggle and how we care about education. If they hear those things, they would have realized how, like, they don't even understand how patriotic black people really are.
Amen.
It baffles me that most white people don't realize that. I'm like, do you understand how, like, I had friends, I was like, I'm joining the army at like 13. 13? Nah, I want to go serve. I think it would be great for me. It's better for this. It's better than being here. It'll give me better opportunities. And they felt good about it. Even as somebody with a legal disability, looked up and said, how could I be a part of the army to serve my country? Even I. So I don't.
Well, we figured that out the last episode of the podcast.
You know what I'm saying? So it's
be
just
a missile.
I can be a missile. The only problem is I want to come back home to women, you know? I'm trying to come back a war hero.
Okay. Well, let's wrap it up there.
Oh, disgusting.
So I hope I didn't say too much. I wanted to give you the floor.
You know, it's just horrible.
All right.
Jackass.